So today we have here on review the Miroku Mark 38 Teak Sporter. For those who haven't heard of Miroku, well, shame on you. Miroku have been making Brownies guns for an awful long time. Before that they made some very, very good and reliable guns, but of recent years what they bring into this country has been it's been scaled down substantially. They used to do grade 3s and only do grade 3s, and the options for these guns are now slim, and the amount they bring in is few. So, they're awesome. Let's talk through this, which is the grade 5 Teak Sporter. Teak Sporter is so cool because it comes fitted with teak chokes. However, this one being second hand has actually been replaced with Browning titanium chokes because they have a little bit less flash, or so the chap says. I'm not really sure whether that's true or not, but it's alright. Working back, we have a standard parallel rib with the twin white bead sights, fairly standard on most Mirokus. And when we get back to the action, it's pretty. The action is exactly the same as Browning 525 action. In fact, entirely identical internally. Externally it comes with a really nice deep cut scroll engraving all the way around and everywhere, and it actually is a really nice bit of kit. Things that make it good. It's really quite big. I always say that cheap engineering is generally made bigger to make it more reliable, which is true. However, imagine when good engineering is big, that makes it twice as reliable, right? That's my thoughts anyway. Really nice action. The only thing I would say about them is they're quite noisy, and they make a big old clunk when you're closing. They're not a sort of subtle gun like a lot of competitors. They're also a lot deeper, which doesn't suit smaller hands particularly, especially as the grip sort of matches the size of the action is all quite large. That said, I have various customers who I wouldn't describe as grand in stature who own these guns, and they shoot them probably better than just about anyone I know. So, things we like about it. It's beautiful. You know, for the price tag brand new on these, which is just over £2,600, I should make that clear. You won't get a nicer looking gun, I don't think. They use American walnut, which is really very, very nice. You get an awful lot of fiddleback and cross grain through it, and they sort of come to life in the sunshine. The only negative with these is if a stock breaks, it's usually on a Miroku. The American walnut is a little bit more brittle than stuff that other people use, really. But that's fine. On it you have fully hand checkered, which is quite nice, so fully hand checkered. Fairly unnecessary touch, but adds a little bit more personal feel than a laser engraved stock. However, it means that you don't have quite the perfection you might get when laser engraving, for example. On this particular one, it's not quite joined in the corners, however you can't really complain. It's hand checkered for well under £3,000. Action wise, the finish isn't particularly fantastic internally. If you're after that sort of thing, you need to go for a Browning B25, that sort of thing, actual hand polish internals. However, they work. They are truly, truly reliable guns. Generally fantastic. Going on to the forend, again hand checkered Schnabel forend. They do a beaver tail option, but that only comes on their trap guns. As I say, all of the ejector work is kept in the forend, nice and tucked away. And as much as they are quite an old-fashioned design, they really are, I don't know, there's something about a Browning action that just closes quite nicely. The other things to say, they come as manual safe, however they come with an auto safety bar in the box. Another downside to this gun, they do come in a cardboard box. That's a bit harsh, I think. However, if you want an ABS case, go and buy one. They're 100, 150 quid, you'll buy a really nice case and you can put it in that. Wouldn't that be delightful? Things to say about it. It's beautiful, it's reliable, and it handles much like guns that are probably 2 or 3 times the price. The gun of choice for an awful lot of high-end shooters who don't want to spend an absolute fortune on something hand-built. They do balance very nicely. It's a 32-inch option, so it is a little bit front nose heavy. However, it's not unpleasant with it. It's not unpleasant at all. And that's a Miroku Mark 38. About as simple as that. Beautiful, reliable, and simple. The grade 1 is probably not beautiful. It comes with a really nasty satin lacquer over some rather boring woodwork. However, if you're after a really simple and reliable gun, you can't go too far wrong. However, for the £1,000 price difference, why don't you buy the grade 5 and have a gun you can actually, be truly in love with.